Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great, but anybody who was looking forward to Marathon is probably not doing so great. Because in case you missed it yesterday, at least at the time of recording this video, PlayStation streamed their Marathon gameplay reveal showcase, where we finally got to see some Marathon gameplay in action, and we got the release date. It is coming out September 23rd of this year, and let's just say this game looks very underwhelming. But before I talk about the negatives, I will talk about the positives, or positive, because I don't want to be unfair. The game has a pretty cool art style, although people seem to be pretty split on that. Some people love it, some people hate it. My roommate said it looked like a AAA version of Pixel Gun 3D. You know, that mobile game from years ago? Either way, I personally like it, and that's about the only thing I like about the game. And I know this might be a bit early to call, but I genuinely see this being PlayStation's next Concord, where the game doesn't even look bad, it just looks like literally nothing special at all. It's just kind of there. And my buddy Spec put it really well yesterday. This game just feels incredibly safe. A game doesn't necessarily have to take risks to be good, but that's usually if it's a part of an established franchise already. And I know, oh, well, technically this is a part of an established franchise. We're gonna get to that and why I think this whole thing is just a huge waste of potential. But for now, I just want to go over the game and just explain why it's nothing special. First of all, the biggest issue I have with the game, and I think a lot of people have with the game, it's an extraction shooter. Now, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but extraction shooters kind of blow. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen an extraction shooter have, like, very positive reception. Even the big ones that people are comparing this game to, like Hunt and Tarkov, as far as I'm aware, those games have a ton of issues and are just not great despite being supposedly the best in the genre. If the best games in a genre still aren't good, I think that says a lot about the genre. Unless you're counting Helldivers, but Helldivers is only an extraction shooter by a technicality. So, like, I don't even know if you can count that game or not. So, I'm just not going to, and I'm gonna say there's no good extraction shooters out there. And see, here's the thing, like, again, we're gonna talk about the wasted potential of this game a little later in the video, but if they were really so adamant about making this an extraction shooter, they could have done so much more with it. Like, I get it, we don't have our hands on the game yet. We're not gonna know 100% what it's like until we play it. But you gotta remember, we saw footage from content creators, and this was their live stream to show off the game and get people hooked and invested into it. So they were bringing the best they had to the table. And all I can remember them saying in the gameplay trailer is that it's an extraction shooter where you go in, you grab loot, you kill people, and then you leave. Yippee. And by the looks of it, it plays very similarly to Destiny, which, guess what? If I wanted the gameplay of Destiny, guess what game I would go play? I mean, for God's sake, they're even putting classes into the game. Like, you have a character with a certain set of abilities, which I guess is different from other extraction shooters. Hooray. And I will give credit, it sounds like there's some cool bonuses in the game. Like, I think they mentioned something about you can pick up an item that turns your double jump into a triple jump, which, again, great, but that's not enough to get me invested. And I doubt this game is really going to capture the eyes of anybody who's already playing a game like Tarkov or Hunt. And I mean, another bit of credit I'll give them is that there's factions in the game that can sponsor you with, like, a loadout. So even if you die and lose all your stuff, you're not, like, completely naked, just running around trying to punch things and get a weapon. So that's cool, but again, just like Concord, it feels like they're a little late to the party with this trend. Also, only 3 launch maps and a 4th one coming shortly after, which we'll see if the game even lasts long enough to get that 4th map. The game, it really just feels soulless. It feels like Bungie's just trying to cash in on the extraction shooter trend, but like Firewalk with Concord, they were too slow. It would not surprise me if we end up finding out in the future that this game was stuck in development hell for a while. And again, for a $40 AAA game, you better have a ton of stuff to do and a ton of interesting things to get me hooked, but this game just doesn't have that. At least, you know, I'm assuming it's $40 because they said it's not going to be full price, but it's also not going to be free. So I think 40 is reasonable to assume, considering that's what Concord and Helldivers were. I'm gonna keep it a complete stack. I know I just said like 2 minutes ago that they could have done so much more with the game being an extraction shooter, but honestly, I think it would be a lot better if they stuck to, you know, what actually made Marathon Marathon back in the 90s. Because for those of you who don't know, I don't actually know who's gonna know this or not, because most people watching this are older than me. Hell, so is Marathon. That game's 9 years older than I am. But if you don't know, Marathon used to be a lot like Doom. Same style of like 2D but 3D shooter at the same time, except you could also look up and down. And it had a single player campaign, and then it also had multiplayer with deathmatch. This is where we get into the wasted potential, because imagine if they had given this franchise the Doom treatment, reboot it with an awesome single player, but then correct what Doom messed up and actually have a good multiplayer. Imagine a multiplayer that played like Destiny 2, but it didn't suck balls. And then guess what? You could have the extraction mode on top of everything else. Would it still suck? Probably, but it would just be a little bonus on top of everything else that's already there, instead of, you know, having it be the only mode, and then nobody buys it because extraction shooters are very niche and often are not good. It would have been especially perfect because now Xbox owns Doom, so imagine PlayStation having their own Doom competitor. How awesome could that have been? But no, as everybody knows by now, this is absolutely not the Bungie that made Marathon and the original Halo games. No matter how much they want to say from the studio that brought you these way better games, guess what? The people at the studio who made those original games are gone. Like Marathon itself, Bungie is only Bungie in name. Everything that actually made them great before is just not there anymore. Just like the game is only Marathon because they decided to call it Marathon. And one of the maps they might add apparently might be the Marathon ship that you're on in the original 90s games. And you know what? Something I completely forgot to mention earlier as well. Like, just in case you thought the game couldn't get any more saved, because I said that before, right? It's just your standard extraction shooter. They're not really doing anything special besides adding some Destiny mechanics, which whoop-de-doo. There will also not be proximity chat in the game, which is standard for the other major extraction shooters. Again, Hunt and Tarkov both have voice chat, and the devs are saying this is because of toxicity. Hey, you want to know what makes people really toxic, particularly against you? When you take out features that prevent social interaction because you're afraid of people being mean to each other. What's next? Are we gonna ban cars and alcohol because drunk driving accidents happen? Like, no. Taking a key feature out of a game just because you're afraid of people being mean to each other is pathetic. Like, give people the option to mute others and disable voice chat. You are quite literally punishing everyone for the actions of a few toxic people. Like, I know I've already said quite a few times in this video that Marathon is soulless, it just looks basic. Taking out proximity chat does not help. Interactions you can have with people through proximity chat can add a ton of charm to the game. And guess what? The beautiful thing about games, not just extraction shooters, but just open world games in general that have voice chat or proximity chat, like Sea of Thieves, for example. Yes, there's the potential for toxicity, but there's the potential to, like, actually meet cool people, make new online friends. But nope, we couldn't possibly have something nice. And I've seen people say that this game should probably be free to play, which, I mean, I agree with. I think $40 is honestly asking too much for how little there's going to be in the game on launch. But honestly, again, it's like a Concord situation. I don't think even free-to-play could save this. It doesn't matter if your product is free if it just isn't interesting to people. Now, obviously, it being free-to-play would definitely increase the player numbers, but I just don't think it's gonna save the game. Bungie's gotta have some kind of ego on them, because they're okay with putting this out, but they said no to The Last of Us 2 Factions. No Factions, a game that people were actually looking forward to for literally, like, what, half a decade before it got canned? But here's the most generic extraction shooter you've ever seen in your life for $40. Because, hey, at least we can justify a battle pass in Marathon, right? Forget the fact that it probably won't last long enough for the battle pass to actually be purchasable. I genuinely don't know what they were thinking. Again, there was so much potential with bringing Marathon back as, like, a competitor to Doom. And unfortunately, that potential has been squandered, because instead they opted for trying to compete with Hunt, Tarkov, and I guess COD DMZ, which, by the way, DMZ fell off the face of the planet, so I don't know why they didn't take that as a red flag, but whatever, I guess they were just really confident in themselves. Good for them, because I don't think anybody else is confident in them. And yeah, with all that being said, that's basically all I've got for this video. I really appreciate it if you made it to the end of me just talking about random crap and having very disjointed thoughts. I'm sorry if this video felt like it was all over the place, but I don't script this. I kind of just say things as they come to my mind. But based on how well my last video on The Last of Us is doing, you guys actually seem to enjoy that. And I really do appreciate it. Fanboy stuff is fun, and I'm going to get some stuff out soon, don't worry. The Switch 2 fanboys are still running rampant. But it's fun to just sit down and ramble for a little bit about stuff I find interesting. So yeah, with all that being said, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more. Join us every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for Salt Streams, and I will catch you all next time.